Okay, we're going to focus on match week 7 now and preview the big games coming up. Of course, at ProSoccerTalk on NBCSports.com, we'll have team news, stream links, and anything else you need on how to watch the games live across the USA this weekend. I'm going to kick things off with Man United against Arsenal. I think this is obviously a huge game for both teams. For me, I want to see if one of these teams can put together a full 90 minutes, because I think we've seen 45 minutes or 60 minutes in certain games of them defending well or attacking well, but not necessarily putting it all together. And again, it's early in the season. For Arsenal, they got a few new players with Thomas Partey and Gabriel coming in, and obviously Aubameyang, who we all had pretty much as the top goal scorer at the start of the season, and he's, not getting any chances to score whatsoever. So again, this goes back to that point where I think managers now are being slightly more defensive because they're concerned about the workload on their players. And both United and Arsenal have been too defensive for me. For the attacking talents they have, they've been too cautious. Maybe that is a fact of them trying to work their way into the season. But the way that other teams, Everton, Aston Villa, Southampton, Crystal Palace, other teams like this and Tottenham are kind of taking it by the scruff of the neck this season, they can't really afford United and Arsenal to get any further behind than they already are. So I'm excited for this one, especially the midfield battle there with Partey and Bruno Fernandes in particular, if he plays centrally. I think that's a key battle to look for in that one. So United against Arsenal, it's coming up on Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Cannot wait for that. Nick Mendola, which game are you looking forward to, mate?
I'm looking forward to Liverpool-West Ham. I think we all know what Liverpool can do. They haven't totally looked themselves this year, or maybe they have. Remember last year, they were the team of destiny, right? Like they would win games like the Sheffield United game. They just found a way to make it happen so many times last season. So maybe this is Liverpool, and it's also Liverpool without VVD, despite the Fabinho with an error right at the weekend, but looked great in the Champions League. But I'm more focused on West Ham, and I am not a David Moyes disciple. He has not done much.
Really?
Yeah, look, I respected what he did at Everton, and hearing Tim Howard on our broadcast talk about how good of a job he's done and how he's a disciplinarian and you got to trust him. All right, I'm kind of seeing that right now. So after years of doing nothing impressive and a number of very unimpressive things, they expected goals. They were better than Arsenal in the game they lost, and they have not lost since. They did lose to Newcastle, but listen, Steve Bruce, he's the English Guardiola. The Antonio injury could be big, but they have Seb Haller. They do have decent depth, at least in terms of people who you can think might do a job for them. So the Irons have spent a lot. They've always looked like a team that might be a top-down problem as opposed to a talent problem. Let's see. Maybe Moyes is having his moment here. Maybe he's reclaiming the I do love that. I do love that. It's great.
I can't get through a segment without speaking about West Ham without doing that, really. It's brilliant. I can just see Declan Rice. That's his team talk as skipper before the game. He just stands there and just does that. And West Ham have played pretty well against Liverpool in recent outings. They've matched up pretty well with them. I remember, obviously, the end of last season as well. Gave them quite a scare. But have to wait and see. Andy, what about you, mate? Which game you got your eye on this weekend?
Leeds United hosting Leicester. It's so interesting to me because I've been hugely impressed with Leeds this season. I did not know what to expect coming up. I know what to expect from any of the promoted teams. And I think I'll take that back. I think we knew what to expect from Fulham probably. And West Brom, they did it over 46 games to get up last season. You want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but they've offered essentially the same thing as Fulham, which is nothing to the Premier League so far, except for a bunch of goals conceded. And so, but Leeds and I think I picked Leeds to go down before the season started because there was just uncertainty about one, it's a different, transition from season to season. There's a lack of preseason. They've not spent a ton, and they did a little bit in between when the season started, and then they got to the closing of the transfer window. It seems like they've done pretty good business and brought in a couple of impact players and players that have just been really solid for that team, and that probably have another level or two to go up with them as well. And so they've essentially been the same team this year as they were last year. They've been ruthlessly efficient, very, very difficult to play against, and I find that to be, in this matchup against Leicester, a really, really difficult, interesting, complicated matchup for both of those teams. It's almost like playing a version of yourself. Leicester a little bit less with the intensity on the press and everything, but they want to get those chances in behind with Jamie Vardy. We saw what they did away to Arsenal on the weekend. It was nothing really happening for 60 minutes. He came on, the game completely changed. And immediately Vardy is in behind, through balls are being played back in there. He gets on the end of one chance the entire time that he's on the field. It's in the back of the net. So Leeds will create a ton of chances against this Leicester team. They've not been, the most efficient with putting them away. And Leicester will look to sit a little bit deeper defensively and then counter on them. And are Leeds going to be able to kind of stylistically handle that change, compared to what they've had in recent weeks? Certainly different than the way Arsenal plays. So it's just, for a lot of different reasons, a really interesting matchup to me.
Really interesting. The Vardy party, let's see if that continues, or Bielsa and his boys will keep rolling. And who knows where Leeds United could go this season. So a few other games quickly to look at ahead of this weekend. Spurs against Brighton. Let's see if Gareth Bale can get his name back in the lights at Tottenham and get a start in the Premier League. Villa against Saints, 2 informed teams early. And Burnley against Chelsea. Let's see if Pulisic can make it back-to-back hat-tricks at Turf Moor in the Premier League era for him. So all left for me to say is thanks for joining us at Pro Soccer Talk. Look forward to the games this weekend and watching them along with you. You can find the full schedule, stream links, team news, anything else you need over at PST.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe. Make sure you subscribe to watch highlights all season long, and always join us every weekend at 7 a.m. on NBCSN for Premier League mornings. Plus, make sure you subscribe to Peacock Premium as well, where you can watch exclusively live 175 games and same-day on-demand replays of all 380 Premier League matches as well.